The views expressed in this podcast, Champ and Tramp, belong to the host and guest, not the Champ and Tramp podcast itself. It's intended for entertainment information, so please use discretion. We're not responsible for any outcomes resulting from the content discussed.
I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at MuscleMeds. We've been taking their products for years now, and I can honestly say these guys deliver.
Yes, specifically Carnivor and Steptropin for me. The Carnivor line really takes the bloating and stomach discomfort away, which is huge for me, especially when I'm training on the mat. And Steptropin to speed up recovery for years of battling in the ring. I can honestly say I feel at my best again.
Yeah, man, I take the Nitro Lift before every workout, and it's got me stronger than ever. But of course, you know I got to crush a Carnivore RTD after. Hands down, the best protein on the market.
Roger that. These products actually work. If any of you guys are looking for a brand you can trust, look, you got to check out MuscleMeds.
Real show, here we go. Real show, here we go. You know that it's gotta be that time, so this is what we chant. What keeps on getting them all amped in advance? Come on. You and I rocking out with Iron Man, FE. You get the general's point of view on top of Roger's rants. Whenever tapping out, we're putting the most minutes in. You already know what that's about, you know that winners win. Crush whatever's on task, check the podcast. It's the champ and the tramp, let the bomb blast.
All right, for all you up-and-coming young entrepreneurs out there, you're going to want to pay attention to this podcast. We have my longtime friend, Dan Sachkowsky, in the house tonight. He is host of the Big D podcast, host of the Intrepid podcast, and a business coach. I've known this guy for probably the better part of 25 years. I think the way I want to lead into this is the first time I ever met you, you almost died right in front of me. Yeah.
Well, I just got to really...
Go ahead, buddy.
Roger's your biggest fan.
Yes.
The Big D podcast. It's definitely your biggest fan.
What is it? We had the mic on for, 30 seconds, and the first gay joke is already rolled out?
That's why I didn't wear a shirt.
So, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. That'll be a good lead into this episode. So, I met Dan through riding motorcycles, but the first time I met him, he damn near died. We used to ride in this spot. We all used to be a little bit into the stunting thing, the wheelies and the endos and the stoppies, and the place to do that was at Chatsworth, this place called Chatsworth, down south of Route 72. It's kind of this long, it's in the Pine Barrens, this long straight stretch road where everybody would go to stunt ride because cops didn't really bother you down there, you know what I mean? So I was down there, a teammate of mine that rode on the same stunt team as me, his name is Joey G, he is no longer with us, unfortunately, not because of that day.
But from a motorcycle?
No, although he almost died on a motorcycle after that and barely clung to life. It was an overdose that years later happened. But anyway, great guy. Dan and him didn't have the best first meeting, but essentially we would ride wheelies on the strip and people would take turns. And Joey had rode a wheelie out and turned right in front of him as he was rocking a wheelie on. What'd you have, a ZX6R back then?
I don't know.
R6.
Yeah.
And Dan, at no fault of his, fucking broadsided him right in the side, and they both got really fucked up badly. Lived, both of them lived, but and he was fucking jacked at the time.
He lived. Holy shit.
So anyway, everybody, I just remember they came down and got, people at the beginning of where we would all line up, and they're like, dude, there's a giant fucking juice head down there all bloody, and he's pissed. And I was like, well, what happened? Like, Joey turned in front of him. I'm like, well, that's fucking, I'd be a little pissed too. So both bikes were totaled. He was a bloody mess. Joey was a bloody mess. But yeah, that was the first time we met, man. And we kind of, after that, stayed in touch because of the love of motorcycles, really. And to this day, we still ride together. You know what I mean? So
yeah. That was definitely a interesting introduction to you.
Yeah.
And I remember that day, still to this day, he had headphones on. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're riding and you're doing stuff, don't have your headphones on. You want to hear what's going on. And everything ripped off me. I slid 220 feet, missed the telephone pole by inches. Literally would have split me in half. I had nothing on. Literally underwear was the last thing I had on. Everything ripped off of me. My shoes, everything. And I literally remember walking over to him like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? And someone gave me a gallon of water, and I drank it, and I passed out, woke up in the hospital. Yep. That's all I remember.
Yep.
How long was that recovery?
I don't know if you actually did you break bones because you were road rash shit.
Yeah, road rash was real bad. Then I had like pins in my finger. Yeah. That was it. I was like such good shape.
Really?
Yeah. So and I was like weeks out from a show.
Yeah, he was pretty jacked back then.
Yeah. Those are the days. That's what most of these tattoos are, like covering road rash.
Yeah, a lot of mine are covering road rash too. Frankie seen me eat shit once. Pretty bad. But yeah, that was it. And I just did kind of as a liaison into your, starting your own business and stuff. As long as I can remember, you owned your own construction company.
Always.
As long as I can remember. Now, did you ever work like a 9 to 5 ever?
Never had a job.
Never.
Nope.
Never. So how does that? So here's how I view it as a lifelong 9 to 5er. And I think if Frankie didn't have the UFC thing, he would have been a business owner, I guess, because he would have taken over his dad's business. But he was a 9 to 5er before he had the UFC career. It's a little daunting for most of us, and I'm sure you're going to give us some valuable lessons here, to come straight out of high school or college. I didn't go to college. I came straight out of high school, went right into my dad's business, working for him, driving an oil truck, 9 to 5 gig. It's daunting because you usually need startup money to start your own company, to be entrepreneurial. And was that ever a thing for you, or you just always knew you were going to be your own boss?
No. So I grew up, we moved to Howell when I was like 14. Prior to that, we lived in Elizabeth, apartment, tight, and then when we moved to Howell, my grandparents moved there. My uncle moved in. We lived in a 4-bedroom with 7 people. So it's terrible. And, just seeing how life was going and, having, not being able to do things and having, 3 pairs of pants and 5 T-shirts and, that's all we can afford. And it just wasn't the life I wanted to live. And a pivotal moment for me was when I was 16, I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Changed my life. And from that point moving forward, I was unemployable. And I knew that I wanted to be in business for myself. I was not going to work for somebody else. And that's what I did. So I went to high school, like co-op for construction, carpentry. And then I was able to work like after my senior year. And there was a store called Rickles. Remember Rickles? Mm-hmm. So Rickles was going out of business. I think
was Rickles where Stop and Shop is?
I remember the store, but I think it closed before I even got here.
The Rickles was in Howell that I went to, and they were going out of business. So like 80% off of tools. So I went into my savings account, $500, $800, whatever I took, bought a whole bunch of tools. I was in business. And then
because you knew you were handy already, you knew you could build shit. You knew.
Well, I just knew that I wanted to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wanted to start doing things. So then I bought a $500 pickup truck and a magnet, and I called myself a business owner. I was just knocking on doors. Hey, I could change your windows. I could change your door. I could build you a deck. And I was just like determined to do it. And I remember back then, my good friend John, his father gave me a chance when I was 16 to finish his basement. I did it for free.
No way.
I had no idea what I was doing, but he let me experiment in his basement. He loved it. And from that point moving on, I was like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's great. Why do you think it's so daunting to so many people, though, that are scared to do that and they just roll right into the 9 to 5? I mean, not everybody. My dad used to say when I was a kid, the world needs ditch diggers too. You know what I mean? And it does, but it's hard to get ahead, especially living in Jersey, being a 9 to 5 guy for sure. But why do you think so many people become complacent and that just becomes the accepted thing to do?
So let's take it back to childhood, right? Like when you're a child, remember going to a Seaside Boardwalk, Point Pleasant Boardwalk, and winning the gold frame with the Corvette or the Lambo and putting that up on your wall, and you wanted that car, right?
Yeah.
And you wanted the monster truck, and you wanted all this stuff. So when you're a kid, you experience this whole perception of like, I want this, I want that, and nobody ever tells you no. They just let you dream. Then as you start getting older, we're not those people, or you're lucky to have a car to take you from point A to point B, or you just need to make enough money to survive. You start hearing this stuff. So mediocrity starts beating in your head, and conditional thinking from the average person on how you should live life. Like we go to high school from first grade to 12th grade for 12,000 hours. We get taught by average people how to be average. Like a professor doesn't know how to go out there and create profits. He only knows how to profess, right? So at the end of the day, we're conditioned throughout life to be a slave for the rest of our life. We're never taught to be in business, to go out there and sacrifice things and do things and, stretch our limits and really put ourselves in a position to win, because that's not what we're taught to be. We're taught to be like, hey, high school, college, work for 40 hours, retire on 40%, but you can't even live on 100. So how's that going to work? So I think a lot of people just kind of follow the path of what everybody says to do. But then some people are just like, I don't want that life. I want to still dream. So if you take yourself back and you want something, you want to do something, you own a gym now, right? So you went out there, you're like, I want to do something. I want to provide to the community. I have a passion. I want to deliver it. Now, when you start putting passion and purpose in front of something, the money's just reciprocal. It just comes, versus being like, oh, I work so hard. I work so many hours. I do so much. But what do you really have left after you do all that? So that's why my boys, like, I try to teach them the same way. You got to be in business. You see what my son's doing.
The most motivated 18-year-old I've ever met.
Yeah, my son's 20, and from 17, been in business. And, dude, the kid's, like, doing $30,000 a month at 20.
Wow. What does he do?
Powder coating.
Wow.
Yeah, now him and his brother open up a sandblasting company. But it's like, he's determined.
Well,
That's what it is. I think determination is the biggest thing,
And if you can instill that at a young age, even better, because the average entrepreneur is between 45 and 50 to start your own business. It's crazy. So if you can be 20, I knew him when he was 18, he had it, right?
Yeah.
So if you can be that young and start that young, I mean, even better. You know what I mean?
But if you were with my kid, you wouldn't even know he was 18. Like,
No.
he acts like an adult. He holds himself well. And I think that has a lot to do with it. He's matured himself throughout life. But, look what you guys do with your kids. You guys push your kids on dirt bikes, on stuff like that. Like, if you continue to do that until they're 18, 20, 30 years old, that push is all they need.
Right.
But I think today, in the world where it's like, oh, let me buy my kid a video game so he could stay or she could stay busy and I don't have to bother with them. But look at what you guys are doing. You're going outside with them. You're doing things with them. You're engaging with them. And you're allowing them to, like, participate, get hurt, overcome fear. Most people today won't overcome fear because fear is so big in their life.
I think that's a great point. You know what I mean? Sometimes I question myself a little bit because I definitely let my son push the envelope a little bit. And I'm always like, fuck, if he gets hurt. First of all, I'm divorced. I'm going to catch a lot of shit because I let my son get hurt or whatever. But I also think that, well, and again, I know Frankie's going to be like, oh, that fucking guy. But Jordan Peterson said something that was, you have to let your kids, how do you say that? Let your kids do dangerous things safely or something like that. You know what I mean? Which I think is important. Like, I'm never going to be a hover parent and hover over my kid and be like, don't do that, don't do that. I'm going to let him do it, but as safe as he can do it. I want him to push that envelope because I feel like people like that succeed in life,
100%.
Well, and you also, your kids need to spread their wings too. If you're constantly helicopter parenting, they can never do that.
Right.
I know a lot of people that do that, and like I don't know, I've seen some guy. I think he was an author or something, but he lived in a city and had a kid that was like 10 or 11. He's like, yeah, I let my kid walk down to the corner store and go to the store and do this and come back. And he's like, by allowing him to do that, he gets so much more mature. By telling these kids they can't do this stuff. That's like Frankie, right away. He wanted to ride his bike. We said, see you later. Yep. Go ahead, go get at it. Right. And I think it benefited him a lot. You know what I mean?
I think you can get judged by other parents. I don't give a fuck.
I could give a shit.
I agree, but I think you can get judged where they're like, oh, he don't give a shit about his kid. Let's get. It's not. I'm fucking worried sick, but I'm going to let him do it because he's going to grow from that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No, you got to let the kids push the envelope. My daughter's 15, since 10 years old, riding her own jet ski, riding quad. Like, at the end of the day, listen, let them be their absolute best. Let them push the envelope. Let them do everything that they want to do because I think a lot of times now, especially, the way parents are today, they're, the parents are pussies. They don't want to make their kids pussies, and the parents are like, oh my God, and they don't want to deal with that. And, when you look at, why do I want to deal with a bloody elbow? Why do I want to deal with a broken leg? Like, that's where, like, manhood comes from. That's where adulthood comes from. Be like overcoming things like that.
Correct. I couldn't agree with that more. Yep. Do you think you've parlayed any life lessons in parenting into business?
So I think business, life, parenting, everything kind of falls in place in the same kind of way, right? When you look at everything in life, whether you're starting a business, it's baby steps. It's sucking before you're good. You're in a relationship, you suck before you're good, right? You're a parent, you suck before you're good. And the more you focus on things and the more you interact with the things in your life, whether it's your business, your relationship, or your kids, the better they're going to become. And the same thing with business, right? So with business, like, I go to business seminars to get better, to do things better, to learn more. With my kids, I learn from my mistakes, things that, maybe I should have done better. Maybe I'll recycle that and do it better next time. And the same thing with relationships. Like, I'm divorced, and I take 100% responsibility. I don't blame the other person. It is what it is. It took both of us to happen, took both of us to break. And I take responsibility for that. But I know now, like, this is what I want next. This is what I deserve. This is what I should, take in and not, want to put out. And I kind of know, like, throughout the lessons of life, I grow through all the situations of my life instead of go through them. Like, well, what is this teaching me? What's this teaching my kids? What did this do for my business? There's a transaction in everything that we do. And if we allow it to transaction for growth based on like growing through the situation and learning, it just makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, everything you're saying, you could kind of like equate it to fighting, like
I was going to say, like,
you got, or sports or, anything in general, but like you got to be the nail before you can be the hammer. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. And,
I think so many people, like, no matter what it is in life, they just ultimately want to go from zero to a hero. And it doesn't work like that. Like, you got to, like, really put your time into everything to be good at anything.
Well, every successful entrepreneurial person that I know, and 2 out of the 3 are sitting in this room right now, has failed to find their success. Jamie, Eat Clean Bro, great example of it. He's been on the show several times and talked very candidly, very openly, was down to his last $300 after failing twice in that business, you know what I mean? In the food delivery business, the health food delivery business, had fallen on his face twice and had $300 left and said, you know what, I'm going to make it this time. I'm going to give it another shot. And with his last $300 cooking out of his buddy's parents' kitchen, he started hand delivering me, and look at him now. You know what I mean? Super successful guy. He's in what is he in Chop right now?
He is in Chop right.
You know what I mean? So super successful. So, do you have any stories that of failing before you found your success? You know what I mean?
I continue to fail today, and I think Frankie would say the same thing. Like, no matter what you do in life, you're going to continue to fail. And I think we fail more than we succeed, but it makes the success so much more tasteful. It makes it so much more better. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of people, they don't want to fail.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people...
Or they give up when they fail the first time.
Or they say they're going to try something. Right. Like, I know you guys don't go into something saying, I'm going to try it. Right. If you try it, it's ultimately like, all right, I touched it, didn't like it, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. You either do it or you don't. Yeah. But failure is inevitable. I mean, listen, in business, you got to expect the bigger you get, the bigger the lawsuits, everyone hating on you, this, that, and another thing. It's just shit that's just going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's going to pile up, but you kind of like work on your recovery time. Mm. First time you get sued, maybe you beat yourself up a little bit, like, what the fuck, why is this happening to me? And then like the next time, you're like, whatever. And then like if something bothered you for like 3 months, maybe it bothers you for 3 days now. Yeah. Maybe it bothers me for 3 minutes. And you got to realize that these things are going to happen. These situations are going to happen. Mm. It's just like fighting, right? So it's the same thing. Like fighting and business and parenting, it's all the same. Like we can't always win. Yeah. Even though we strive to win and we want to do our best and be our best, we're going to fall short. And that's just where you learn from. And when you learn and admit those things.
Well, that's exactly it. Like you said, you learn from these lessons, Henzo Gracie says it. You don't win and lose, you win and learn. Yeah. If you learn from your losses, it's not a loss.
100%.
Should put some of these sayings on T-shirts, man.
Yeah.
What's your feeling, both of you guys, on business partnerships? Because I've heard a lot of bad things, like don't get a partner, do it yourself. I keep hearing that over. I did have a business once, and I had a partner.
I remember that.
It burned me really bad, and I lost a bunch of money, and I learned a lesson.
Like chlamydia?
Fucking another gay joke number 2. He just texted me the other day, bro.
No.
Yeah, randomly.
Is send you a check?
He didn't respond. No, he didn't send me a check. I did not respond because I wouldn't have been kind if I was going to respond. But yeah, out of the blue, randomly, just like, hey, bud, what's up? Hope all's well.
What?
Yeah, bro. I was like,
wow.
I called my sister. I was like,
That's
yo,
ballsy.
am I being fucking punked right now? This can't be real. But anyway.
As far as partnerships, I think you can look at it 2 different ways. You have to inspect what you expect, right? I think a selfish thing that we do as business owners is we wish that we could duplicate ourselves. I wish I had another one of me. That's a very selfish thing to say. There's only one of us, but there are people out there who are better than us in things that we're not good at. So if you're going to get in a partnership, you have to understand that you may put more time in. You may do more things, but that's something that you're signing up for. You can't expect that other person to be 100% when you're 100%. And it's like a relationship, right? You got to be, you're 100% in all the time. It's not a 50-50 game. Yeah. And if you could find that person that you're well balanced with, I think some business partnerships work. For me, I tried it a few times. It didn't work because like I'm type A. I'm so aggressive. I'm result driven, and like if you're leaving something on the table, like dude, that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? And for me, I'd rather work by myself and get things done and position people in place and pay them high dividends so that they can be a part of the team versus like someone making decisions with me.
Yeah,
You know,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I had a couple partnerships, and I mean, like when the UFC gym had a partnership, that was good just because someone else could front some of the money, you know. But in the end, it really didn't work out, you know.
Yeah, I remember that was a tough loss for you,
Yeah.
but probably again a valuable.
A learning lesson for sure, you know. And it was too far. I wasn't there enough. You know what I mean? I'm still fighting. That was, and then I had the wrestling school with two people, and it was great. Actually worked great, but you're splitting between 3 people. It kind of doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
So there's something I've seen you talk about on your podcast, and I feel like I've seen most business coaches, entrepreneurs talk about it. Maybe you can expand on it a little bit. And I sometimes I'll bust on some of these motivational speakers a little bit because they just make it sound like it's just easy, do this. But this 10X thing, talk about it.
like 10X in a business.
10X is in business, yes.
So, you know, Frankie's new school. Like, how old's your school? About a year?
No, it's like 7, 8 months.
All right. So the best thing for you to implement right now are like systems and processes, CRMs, right? Like everyone's coming in, you know the dividends, what's being paid out, the time, whatever it is. If you're going to have other instructors, who's performing the most, your retention rate based on like, let's say that you have 5 other trainers and 3 of the trainers got someone who keeps renewing, and then 2 of the trainers got people who just are quitting and aren't coming in. Like you have these results, right? So a lot of times in business, number one part about business is that most business owners are a bottleneck. They're doing everything. It's a control problem. And they want to be like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. First thing you need to do in business is you need to eliminate the cheap stuff. The emails, the phone calls, the marketing, that's all cheap stuff. Let somebody else do it. There's professionals who'll do it. There's girls who will work for $20 an hour. There's call centers, there's VAs, there's all this stuff that'll save you so much money.
Got people in India too. We got
Yeah, same thing. I got people in the Philippines, you know. So at the end of the day, as long as you can start tasking things to other people, you start freeing your time up.
Makes sense.
Number 2, you have to start putting people in a position that they're going to start running big parts of your company, and you're going to pay them big dividends, and you got to be okay with that. Because for you to be able to expand, let's say you're doing $1 million a year, how do you get to 10 million? Well, everything you're doing right now for $1 million, someone else needs to do.
Right.
You need to go out there and work on your business, not in your business. And most people don't make it past $1 million a year because they're so much in their business, working 100 hours a week, working 7 days a week. And everyone thinks it's the harder the way they work, the more they work. But success doesn't come from that. Success comes from the more time you have, the more freedom.
You making money when you're not there.
Money continuing to grow while you're sleeping.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, I
think
know.
Grant-
I know. Let's say 2 people that probably work too much, and it's got to be nerve wracking. You know, they like the control, but if they push, like you said, if they divvied some of the responsibilities to someone else, they would double their profits. You know what I mean? Like my old man, he wants to do everything. He's doing everything. I'm sure he could have paid other people, and they could have been, like you said, you have 3 of the people doing what he's doing, making 3 times the money. But it takes a lot of trust. You know, it takes a lot of faith in someone.
Getting the right person.
Finding these right people. It's tough.
It's trial. Look, Jamie's a good example, right?
Yep.
So Jamie was doing everything, cooking, packing, doing all this stuff. All right, well, now I have to outsource this. Now I have to get people to do this. Now I have to get people to do this. Now he's got multiple distribution centers creating profits because he's no longer in the business. He's working on the business. You know, and he's the biggest marketing tool for his company, which is great. But everything else on the back end is being done without him. But in the beginning, he couldn't grow. He only had $300 left, maybe because he was doing everything.
He made mistakes that he'll openly talk about well into his business. Building his new building, like he definitely made mistakes, and he was very candid about it on here. He was paying double overhead, the building he was in and the new building, which he had a lot of hang-ups there with the town and permitting and all that. And he's the thing we love about Jamie. He's just so
open,
blunt, honest, and just tells you. And he's that's why we're his biggest fans. I mean, the guy's he's a success because he doesn't hide anything. Now he's got a podcast too. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I just saw he started with some guy, Greg or something.
Yeah, Greg T.
Yeah, the guy from the radio show.
He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what was he on 103.5 or something back in the day?
One of those, yeah, I forget, but yeah.
He has a voice for it, bro.
He does.
Yeah.
I think the 10X thing, I think Grant Cardone is the
Got
one
a
that
face
coined
for
that.
radio.
Yeah, so Grant Cardone talks about 10xing, like real estate and all that
Short,
stuff.
like you.
I basically help people like 3 to 5x their business. That's like a realistic number. Like we work together for a year. You're doing $1 million. We'll get you to 3 million. We'll get you to 5 million. There's a reason why you're stuck.
Yeah.
And once we figure out that reason, a lot of it has to do with internal problems, control problems, maybe they don't believe in themselves. And it's always stupid shit too. Paying for things that, you're paying so much money for that you could be, lowering your expenses somewhere else. That's a big problem in business.
How do you help people with that?
We just kind of look at the overall expense and like where all their money's going.
So when you're working with a company or working with an individual, that you're literally diving into their books.
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything.
Okay.
And I ask a lot of questions like, what's the problem? What are we paying for? Profit and losses, looking at everything. Like, what's this? Why is this here? What are we spending on this? Is this a necessity? We can outsource this. This can be literally, you can get 3 employees overseas for the price of 1 here. So if you're a person who's doing, let's say, mortgages or real estate or whatever on a big volume, and you need people to filter calls and do stuff, and all you have to do is close the deal, use somebody else, man.
So it's kind of funny because speaking of 10X, which seems to be the go-to for a lot of these, I feel like in the last 10 years, the amount of motivational, I don't want to say motivational speakers, business coaches has 10X'd. I feel like almost everybody feels like they're a business coach now. Is there anybody out there, and maybe you don't want to because maybe that's bad karma in your business, is there anybody out there that you make fun of that's like, this guy does not?
Gotta be. There's a
Gotta
million.
be. Because everybody's a fucking business coach now. Is there anybody out there that doesn't practice what they preach?
Like a big person?
Like a big name, yeah. I mean, the one that comes to mind, not to me, and I'm not saying he's guilty of it, but I don't know what he did in life to reach his goals and aspirations of becoming successful before. I just know him as I keep saying motivational speaker, as a business coach and motivational speaker, is Gary Vee. What was his industry? What did
online.
he do?
His family was online, always working in wine business.
Okay. Wine. Okay. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
But he was the first to his dad was in the wine business forever.
Yeah.
And
I didn't
he
know
got
that.
his dad to sell wine from the internet
Yeah,
before
like-
anybody was really doing
like
that.
shipping boxes to your house and stuff.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. Okay. All right. So
No, Gary V's good.
legit then.
Super aggressive.
Yeah.
But he's good.
He's like, you got old CDs? Sell them.
Yeah.
Start something like that.
they just make it. To me, they make it sound
Well, they have to though.
so simple, and just do these 5 things I'm telling you to do, and you'll be a millionaire within a year. It sounds like Jesse. Buy XRP, and next year you'll be a millionaire. I bought a bunch of XRP. I'm still not a millionaire.
So I think everyone today with social media wants to be an influencer. I mean, there's a lot of these guys, in the whole fitness world. They're selling programs and they're driving Bentleys. They're driving Rolls Royces. Those are the shit bags of the world.
Are we talking about the guy that I think we're talking about? We might have had him on the show.
I don't know.
Bro, you see Thomas that went in with him?
Yeah. Everybody's going at him now because he says
He
professional
said
fighters.
professional fighters ain't shit.
Exactly.
Come on, bro.
Wes Watson.
Yeah.
He's another one.
Yeah.
So again, that dude's fame will die overnight. Listen, TikTok shuts down, Instagram shuts down. What's that guy got, right?
Yeah.
And he's good for the young kid who wants to buy the flash. But the reality is, like, when you're older and you're in business, it's not about the flash. It's about everything else. But the young kids are going to buy that because he's selling lifestyle. He's not selling anything else but lifestyle. But there are, like, this one guy, Andy Elliott. Have you seen him?
Not familiar.
Can't stand him.
Really?
So he was.
Yes, you do.
He's a clown, dude. So he's got like a very big cult following. All his people wear his shirts. Elliott Army, all this bullshit, and they're like, it's just stupid, bro. Like he's yelling, if you're not making $100,000 a month, if you're not in shape, all this bullshit. Like it's just the way he's.
Wes Watson says.
Yeah, same shit. You know what I mean? But like these guys, bro, they're just not helping the masses.
Well, they're insulting the better part of the country, the better part of the world. You know what I mean? Right? If you're not making, how many people do you know that's making $100,000 or $300,000 a month? Fucking like 1% of the world.
Yeah, but he's making $100,000 a month because he's selling programs,
Right.
And he's taking on coaching clients for $100,000 a year,
Exactly.
$500,000 a year. But they're not changing, not doing anything, and they think they're with a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, I just think that so many people, like if you're not bringing value, you're not really, really changing people's lives, and you're only in it for the flash, like some of these guys that are, you know, we talked about, you know, their shit's going to die out over time. It's not going to be something that you're going to be able to sustain. And that's the way I look at it.
Let's talk about something totally different. What's your feeling? Because they are sort of entrepreneurial in a way. What's your feeling on like these OnlyFans chick that literally, you know, like that one girl turned 18 and made $1 million? What was it, in one day, Frankie? Was it a one day? What's her name?
Catch Me Outside?
Catch Me Outside chick?
Yeah.
She made $1 million, and was it a day? I think it was
like that,
the day she turned 18. I mean, it is entrepreneurial, but what's your take on that? It's kind of entrepreneurial.
I'll be dead
So-
honest.
Showing your butthole.
So's robbing banks, right?
That's
So
it. One's
selling
illegal
drugs.
and one's
selling
legal.
drugs. Selling drugs is.
One's legal, one's illegal.
So selling drugs.
Is legal or illegal?
Illegal, yeah. Are you saying it's
I'm saying what they're doing is technically legal.
Yeah, no, I mean, damn.
It's prostitution.
It is
kinda.
prostitution. 100%.
I don't know much about OnlyFans. I know, like, obviously girls
Just
go
know
out
they
there.
make ridiculous money, and they for showing their buttholes.
Well, no, what about the
almost
girl?
seems not fair.
Well, I'm almost thinking like you're talking about the girls sleeping with 1,000 dudes.
No. I'm
No?
talking about OnlyFans.
Okay.
Chick that show
Well,
their
that
buttholes.
is kinda
for-
OnlyFans,
and they make
too,
a
right?
ton of money. Nah, she's
Do you hear what Sanhagen?
dude showed his balls.
His balls had no dick. Took the dick out, showed his balls.
Corey
made $2 million.
Sandhagen, really, really good fighter.
In a month.
Who you would never think would ever fucking do this. A lot of
$2
fighters.
million.
Lot
He's
of
got
fighters,
ginger balls too, probably. You know what I'm saying, right? Right.
A lot of fighters have OnlyFans, but they do like tutorials on how they don't actually show. This dude was literally showing his balls, and what did he
He said he
make?
took the dick
$2
out,
million
$2 million
in a month.
Wow.
I want to show
But
my
like-
balls. I don't care.
Well,
You don't think I'll get $2 million?
no.
You'll be yelling at him like you're yelling at Jesse.
I'd do it for $1 million. I'll show my nuts for $1 million.
Oh man.
Just the nuts? You wouldn't show your nuts? What the fuck? There's nothing.
I'm all dick, buddy. I'm all dick. All right.
I wouldn't because I have children. I wouldn't do it. But if I didn't have kids, I might show my nuts.
I
for
don't know
$1
though.
million.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's like tacky, I guess.
I
in a
wouldn't.
way.
I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't date a girl now. Maybe back in the day I would, but I wouldn't date a girl that has an OnlyFans. Back in the
What do
day,
you
I
mean
would
back
have.
in the day, like fucking couple
Before I
years
had
ago?
kids.
A couple
Yeah.
years ago.
From
2 years ago.
MySpace to my place.
Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, they are sort of entrepreneurs, are they not? Entrepreneurs of
I mean,
buttholes.
that's like you saying a girl working in Vegas strip clubs is an
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Right. That's legal.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but they kind of are.
Okay, but
But you're degrading
but-
yourself. and
Yeah.
you're
I
like,
agree.
You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
You
What's
have
your
no
personal-
Yeah, well, there's got to be a line. I mean, look, we could probably be. There's some shit that's taboo that we probably could do and still make money, right? That's maybe looked down upon.
If I didn't have kids, I think I might. I wouldn't do porn. I wouldn't do anything like that. But fucking show my nuts for $2 million. If I didn't have kids, I'd show my nuts for $2 million.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Maybe no kids, no wife and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
maybe,
saying.
Maybe. But then, like, what are you attracting after that? You know what I'm saying? What are you attracting?
There's enough guy.
Are you gonna go if you met a girl that showed her fucking hoo ha over
Nuts,
and over, made
though.
to
That would be like her showing
Her clit.
half a nipple.
no.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. Whatever. It's still our fucking privates, dude. Down low.
Yeah,
down low.
I guess. I'm
Right?
not saying I would do it, but $2 million is $2 million. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I would do it.
After you
I
get
would.
taxed on
Would you
it, it's
ever
not worth
think?
it.
I mean, you know Corey a little bit. Like, would you ever think that dude would fucking show his nuts? I would never think that.
I don't know him that well.
Well, all right, all right. Well, you know him better than I do, so.
Yeah, I don't know. There's things about degrading things in your life. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it's.
I think when you're, I
You
think
can't
when
come
you-
back from it,
Yeah,
right? You
and
can't
when
take
you're
it back,
young,
yeah.
you don't think about stuff like that. But
Right.
you know, when you're
At
older,
this age,
yeah,
like,
fuck
what
you
are
up.
you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take you out of the game real quick.
All right, I'm gonna go with I won't do it then. Damn it! Oh, you guys are disappointed.
When your nuts will shrivel. They're shriveled up anyway. What are you gonna show?
Yeah, too many steroids back in the day. There's not a whole lot of nuts there.
Yeah, I want
have to use the hair dryer before I take a picture. You know,
Just pull, you have to pull it. TRT set.
the old hair dryer trick. Oh shit, that's funny. Yeah, but you. Speaking of that, you were a fucking monster back in the day, man. Let's talk about surgeries. You've had 2 full knee replacements. Frankie's
One
no
year ago.
stranger to
What,
surgeries.
wait, both knees? Wait, did you do them at the same time?
A month after each other.
A month after. Wow.
They were bad.
How and
He did walk with knees
how
in
do you
for a
feel
while.
now?
Oh, I feel great.
They feel great.
great. Squatting, leg
Because I know a
press,
lot of
everything.
people have knees and they're not great.
So I ripped my quad when I was in my 20s on this leg. So then this one started going this one, then this one started going like this. So I was like almost like walking like this. The doctor's like, we're going to cut your bones and straighten your legs out. I'm like, what? Dude, my legs are straight now. It cut my bone. I got full implants of both. Great. Run. I could run.
You can run. Wow.
I couldn't run for 15 years. I would jump off the curb and feel it in my neck.
Yeah.
Now I'm good.
He's not exaggerating. His knees like literally almost touch when he walks. And it's funny because we were in Lake George. We do a boys' annual Lake George trip every year. Last few years, Dan's come and his son, and we always go to this one club every single night. We end up there, but it's called DJs. We're friends with the owner and stuff. And some guy was giving Dan's son a little bit of shit, and Dan's got 2 bad knees. He's like, I'm going to carry this motherfucker out of here. In my head, I'm like, he ain't picking shit up with those knees. Probably threw this guy over his shoulder. Fucking walks out with this guy. That was what, 2 years ago before you had the knees?
2 years ago, yeah. That was interesting. More happened after that, but
I know.
Let's
Let's not
that.
talk about that. Yep. Yeah, that could be another lawsuit. You don't want to talk about that on the air.
There's a lot of people who I talked to about knees. Like it was 50-50. But for me, dude, it couldn't get any worse.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad.
It was like bone on bone.
So it's good now. Really good.
That's good. Yeah, I got a fake hip. I could do pretty much everything. Like to me, I could run a mile, and then after that, it starts bothering me. But everything else I could do.
Like certain days, cold days, rain days, you feel it a little bit, but
My low
that's to
back's
be
always
expected.
been my issue, but I don't want a cage yet, man. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs because it's, I got hopefully a bunch of living left to do, and they say when you get that cage, everything above that cage starts deteriorating. Was it below
Above
too?
and
I guess.
below.
Yeah. Starts deteriorating, and you only get so much time out of that. So I'm
Take
just
it.
trying to push it off as much as I possibly
My
can.
dad's
but-
got 7 back surgeries since I'm a kid. He's all fucked up.
caged.
Yeah, and his last one, they went through his stomach.
Yep, that's what they said they were going to do to me. I said,
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
that. Yep.
He's a mess. He can't even walk now. He's a disaster.
Didn't you just buy him a trike?
Yeah, he's got a trach,
Yeah.
because he couldn't get on a Harley.
Yeah.
He couldn't balance.
Oh wow,
That's great.
So I feel like let him love what he can do for as long as he's still here.
So this guy's got a farm now. He used to live in Howell, sold that. He had a couple houses in Howell, sold that one, bought a place. And we don't have to say where it is, but fucking out west. And I see you got those. What are they called? Those cows. My daughter wants to come out there so bad.
Highland
cows. You know those cows with the bangs? They got like the bangs. They're super chill. They're like mellow as fuck.
it's like Irish cows.
Scottish.
Scottish. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Scottish.
They're all over
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah,
and
yeah,
shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
cool.
got to get my daughter out there.
How many you have?
4.
4. Now, how's the upkeep for them?
It's nothing. We got 4 of them, 3 baby doll lamb and 6 goats.
Oh wow,
Mini goats?
My in-laws got a bunch of goats. How much property do you have?
It's like 10 acres.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful spot. Beautiful spot.
It's a bale of hay a day and a little bit of feed. It's like $10 a day.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No, it's half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Someone does it. If we're not there, someone else, $50, come over and do it.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we got chickens.
I'll tell you something though. Like, I've had the cows for like a year.
Can you
Cows.
milk with cows?
No, you can't milk. No.
You could, Frank. You could milk.
You probably
the-
could.
milk
I don't
the
know.
bull.
Are
You
they
could milk
male
the bull.
cows? Are they male cows?
One
Roger wants to milk
one of them. He's got a sack on him, like hitting his ankles.
Hey, OnlyFans. Yeah, OnlyFans. Yeah.
I should do an OnlyFans for him. So I can tell you something that I've learned in the last year with these cows. All the stress that we have in our life, when you walk out there and you see these cows, they don't care about life. They just want to eat. They want you to pet them. They want you to be present with them. And no matter what's going on in your day, you could have the worst day. You walk back there, it's like, life's not that bad, And they really change everything, It's like going to the shore. Like you go to the shore on the weekend, you have a shore house, whatever. Like you go there, you forget about life, and then now you're back in reality. But it's like you pull up to this farm every day, you're just like, dude, it's.
I've found that when you encapsulate yourself in your little bubble when you're stressed, like your house, and you don't leave, it just fucking makes everything worse. Get out. It doesn't matter where you go. You're going to see something that'll put it into perspective what you're going through. You know what I mean? Whether
Or
it's
work
the beach
out.
Or work out. Yep, exactly.
I think
that's
working
the
out's the
one.
best thing
Yeah,
for stress.
100%.
I
You
think
get your best workouts.
so many people think their safety net is being in their house. It's like being in a fucking prison. It's the worst thing you can do when your mind is racing and you know, you got anxiety and a bunch of shit going on, you know.
I like jumping in the sauna too sometimes.
Sauna's
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Jump in
yeah.
the sauna, just think, you know, maybe put some like
Yep.
kind of meditation stuff on it. So I just kind of lets you think.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
We'll get
Clear
you
the mind.
Yeah. Cold plunge too, right? Get your mind off of what you're going to, almost like a fight or flight, and you're not thinking
that's
about.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
My heart would probably blow in pieces if I went in one of those.
I do better with the
Fuck
cold
that.
plunge than I do the sauna, man. The sauna, I don't like the heat.
Guys have
man.
been in a cold plunge in 3 years. He does better in the cold plunge.
I did the
3 years ago, I did better than the cold plunge.
I did the Tough Mudder years ago, and I jumped in that fucking dumpster full of ice. Dude, I was fuck this.
The initial shot.
Never again.
Yeah. That's
I
why
do, I do a cold plunge every morning.
this guy does it fucking early, too.
How
It's
long do you go?
crazy.
10 minutes?
Just three.
3 minutes?
10?
37
I don't know.
degrees.
Some people go 10
Who
minutes.
the fuck
right?
goes 10 minutes?
They go 10 minutes around like 50 degrees.
Okay. I don't know. I don't do it.
Joe Rogan does it, but I don't think he even does
No,
10. What's
3
he doing?
minutes.
Oh, he only does 3? Yeah.
But he has done 20 once.
I hear it's the best thing for your brain, for everything in the
Everything.
morning.
Brain
It's a
fog.
dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it lasts for a long time. It's great. I love it.
And they say the same thing, too. Like, when you wake up in the morning, like, you shouldn't have your coffee right away. Go outside.
Yeah,
Like, go outside, get some sunlight, or even the fresh air, and just walk out of the environment.
Yeah.
Then have your coffee, and then the energy from your coffee an hour later will hit you so much better.
That makes sense.
'Cause it
Something we were talking about, I think, before the cameras turned on. The first 2 hours of your day, you were saying you don't look at your phone and you journal for a portion of that. By journaling, I mean basically writing your thoughts down, right?
Yeah, so I wake up in the morning. I listen to like a couple like devotionals and a couple like short videos that I get come to my phone every day, and then I journal. I read some scripture. I do that kind of stuff, and I just kind of like sit there and think about my day. I write all about yesterday, all about today. I write down every day 3 things that I'm grateful for, and when I do that, it really like puts a lot of things into perspective, you know. And by doing this, I feel like you kind of like you let go, and you just kind of like that everything that you're carrying, even when you wake up in the morning, even though you're trying to go to sleep and not, think about what happened yesterday. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you start jotting it down. There's something about it where you just kind of like open up and just go a couple pages and just get it all out. It just kind of like it releases a lot of pressure out of you.
Therapeutic in a way.
Yeah. I mean, you see it, bro. When we go,
Yeah, I see it. I
when we
saw
go
you
to
doing
Lake
it in
George,
Lake George.
I'm sitting there.
He's
They're
the
all
first one
They're
up.
sleeping on the
We're
first
all
one up.
hungover. He's the first one up, writing in his journal.
Roger brings a coloring book sometimes.
Well, you got Jesse mixing all his oils and
Oh,
his
dude,
waters and his pills. And he's outside doing
Were you
yoga.
there the
Is he
year-
sunning his
were you-
asshole?
Were you there the year that he ended up on the porch and on the balcony overlooking the lake, and he didn't know where he was? He had a GPS. He didn't know where he was. He had to fucking put it in his GPS to see that he was in Lake George. That's how messed up he was.
Yeah.
He's great. He's the best part of the trip, but he barely comes anymore because he doesn't like drinking. Yeah,
He came last year. It was
he
fun.
did come last year. I don't know if he'll ever come again.
He didn't want to drink no more.
He's coming to dinner on Thursday though, so I got him out of the house a little bit. So,
It'd be nice to see him.
yep, for sure.
I haven't seen him in a while, man.
He barely leaves the house, man. Since he got that infection on his leg,
What infection was this?
I think you weren't you in a group text we were talking about it? I thought he sent a picture of it. Maybe he didn't, but to me it looked like a staph. He said it wasn't a staph, but he actually had to. Like Jesse doesn't like medicine. He doesn't like the hospital. He doesn't like any. He went to the emergency room, so had to be bad. You know what I mean? But he had some.
You don't
sort
want to
of-
play with staff.
No, he had some sort of infection on his leg that, fucked him up for a while, and I don't think he's done much since. He says he's still not quite right from it, but again, he attributes it to the medicine that they gave him. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
Could be.
who knows? Don't they say it beats up your immune system when you're on that?
Antibiotics, yeah. Beat your immune system. I mean, no. I don't know. No, I mean, because antibiotics
stay
it
on 'em
kills
for a long
Yeah,
time.
well, yeah, if you stay on for a long time, for sure. But antibiotics just kill all the good
And your-
gut flora, and they kill everything.
And your energy level too, right?
That's what they say. Honestly, I'll be honest, because like they always say, "Oh, you go on antibiotics, you're going to be out of shape." Like if you fight on staff, if you have staph.
I've heard that.
But
yeah.
every time I have staph or I was on antibiotics, I would just take probiotics after, and I honestly felt like my condition was fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gotcha.
The worst thing like that I ever had was when I had my heart attack, August 8th, 2022. Like that was like,
But you had a heart attack?
yeah.
Didn't you have? I don't remember this. Weren't you either at dinner or you had dinner reservations or
No,
something?
no, I was at my office,
Oh,
and that was like a point where I don't know what they were pumping me with at the hospital, but I'm like, no, I didn't want none of that shit. But I was on drugs, so that it's making me think about, like, the doctor was always like, you don't want to be on long-term high blood pressure, all this stuff. And I stopped taking my medicine. And because everyone's like, oh, you don't want to be on that shit forever. Right. It ended up causing me to fucking go, get all fucked up and go into cardiac arrest.
Wow. From not taking your medicine?
Yeah, my blood pressure skyrocketed and everything.
See, I'm on blood pressure medicine too, and Jesse and Frankie have both said to me, dude, you can regulate that. Exercise, sleep right, eat right. At 50 years old, it's harder to do that. So I'm staying on the blood pressure medicine because I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, so
I
try to do the same thing, lose weight, eat right, just water, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and I needed it, dude. It just fucking spiked, and I still take it today because, dude, you get hypertension. You could have a stroke. Yep. Like, anything can happen.
Do you donate blood?
I do every 60 days.
Someone saying
I just donated yesterday. We call it oil change.
Call it blood dump, right? Blood dumping.
Yeah.
I seen someone. Was that Ian Smith talk about hematocrit or something?
Hematocrit.
Or no. What's ferret? Something's like the iron in your blood. Ferritin or ferret.
Your hematocrit level, I think, for men is not supposed to be over like.
But hematocrit makes your blood
thicker.
Okay, yeah. Well, he's saying it has something to do with the ferrin or something.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what he's saying, that it's not always good to blood dump. He's like, if you were constantly having the blood dump, it means your protocol is not right. That's what he was saying.
You say have to. Like, I don't know anybody that has to.
Well, because some people do it because their blood gets thick, yeah.
Your hemoglobin's high. Yeah. Like, mine's usually like 18, 17. It's high.
I'm always in range because
you get this thing checked. He said it could help.
Well, they have. You have to be in a range, otherwise you can't donate. They used to do the finger prick thing.
Yeah, but no, there's people that don't donate. It's called blood dumping.
So what does that mean?
They just take the fucking blood out.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
I got you.
No, I donate. I go to like Red Blue.
That's what I do.
Red
Cross.
I
was gonna say I go every 3 or 4 months, but it's probably like every 6, probably, or 2 or 3 times a year I do it. So.
They say it's okay to go like every 60 days.
Yeah. I think you have to. Yeah, it's something like 3. Something like that.
There's 58 days.
I have the app, and it tells you when you can go again. Something like that. Yeah.
I feel good, and I like to get the free cookies.
Yeah. Cheez-Its.
No, yes, I like the Lorna Dunes.
Hell yeah.
Talk to us about the Big D podcast and Intrepidus. Excuse me. Let me try that one more time. Intrepidus podcast. And what's the difference between the two?
So Intrepidus podcast. Intrepidus is the Latin word of fear. Okay. So we bring on business owners or anyone who's done anything significant, fighter, athlete, whatever, whoever.
I guess I won't be coming on that one then. I'll do the other one.
Dude, look what you did with your motorcycles. You're a father. Look at what you overcame through divorce. Whatever it is.
Like you went and got the hair transplant.
Yes, that's right. Success. Great success.
First time I seen it.
Yeah.
It's good. Tell me it looks fucking phenomenal, dude. Honestly.
I'm only 4.5 months in. They say you don't get your full results till a year. So it should get better. Watch out, ladies. Watch out.
It's not going to be the same at Lake George anymore. Looking at that bald spot in the back. So Intrepidus podcast is we bring on people who've done something significant. We talk about how did you get started, why did you get started, how did you overcome the fear, what keeps you up at night. If you have a family, like how do you balance your family? Because a big thing in life is people talk about work-life balance. There's no such thing. It's like you kind of got to give some to take some and do what you got to do, and you got to kind of know where your boundaries are. So we talk about that. We try to encourage that next person who wants to go in business or is just standing on the sideline and not doing it by interviewing somebody that might change their life. So the whole goal behind that is we do 1 episode a week, 52 episodes a year. If we help one person every single week, we've done our job. And it's just, whatever it is. And then the Big D podcast, I'm super vulnerable on that podcast. I talk about all my challenges, all my success, all my failures, everything I've done in my life. And I equate it to, all the things I've been through, all the things I'm going through, and I'm super real about it. I don't talk about like all the highs where everyone you see on Instagram and wherever everyone talks about the highs. I talk about the lows, the highs, how you need the lows to get the highs. I talk about all that stuff, and I dip in a topic every single week, and I really let people think about how this affects them, whatever it is, how they can change it, and just the simple things. And then I kind of bring famous people, athletes, movie stars, whoever who went through these types of adversities and just show them, like, listen, you may look up to this person. This is what they went through. Here's what I went through. I think using real life stories and real life connections by explaining things to people, it's more relatable than being like, you got to fucking do this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
I'm not down with that.
I will be honest though. I think Roger was totally misinformed on what the Big D podcast was. So he's not your
you
favorite.
already made
maybe
that
he's
joke.
not your favorite.
You're repeating the same joke. You can't do that.
Maybe it's not his favorite anymore.
You said super vulnerable. What's the biggest hardship you've had? What's the biggest adversity you've had to strive through in your life?
When I was 24, went bankrupt.
Okay.
That was super hard. Divorce was hard.
Yeah, I'll second that.
My son not talking to me for 4 years was hard.
Yep. I'm so happy to see that has found its way back, and you guys are doing great now. I'm very happy to see that. He was just with you, right? You just went out to where?
Cali.
Cali.
Yeah. Because
both your sons.
Because of both of them for business.
Yep.
I don't think there's one true thing, because every defining moment has been different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think using them. So I have a book that's coming out. It's called Life Defining Moments. And then I have another book that's coming out. It's called Failing Your Way Uphill. Failing Your Way Uphill is 14 chapters talking about 14 failures I had in my life that I used as stepping stones to get to the next place. And I think the majority of people in this world is the minute they fail, they give up and they go back to where they came from, versus realizing that it's all a part of it. So vulnerability and being real and letting people know it's okay to go through this. It's okay to feel this way. I was never suicidal, but like there was a time like when I was going through my divorce where like, bro, fucks you up.
We
you know
talked
what I mean?
a lot during yours, and we talked a lot during mine. It was tough. It was tough going.
It really, it really makes you think about yourself, makes you think about life.
Well, also you have to be real with yourself, and you have to accept some responsibility. You can't just be like, none of that was my fault.
Yeah,
No, that's bullshit.
100%.
You know what I mean? So
we should own everything in life, no matter what it is, and that's one thing I've like came to a fact. No matter what happens, like we are where we are because of who we are.
Sure.
And everything that happens in a life is because of something that we were a part of.
Yep.
And we can't go back and change it, but we can only change what we're going to do.
The future. It's in our power to change the future, not the past. So I try not to. Occasionally, I think it happens to all of us to live in the past because you can't change it. Nothing you can do to get it back. You just
can't change your past, but you can change your future.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what
That
I'm
you just said?
Yeah.
You said that?
Me and Roger had a pretty deep conversation one time. I literally showed up at his house.
He just showed up, man. When I was
showed up
going
at his
through
house.
it, he just literally showed up, and he's like, "Come on, we're going to the gym." And I was like, "Bro, I don't think I gotta go to the gym." He's like, "Come on, we're going. I'm going right now. You come with me." You know what I mean? Just fucking pulled up. I see this big monster truck pull up, and there was a number of people when I was in that place that I put myself. You know what I mean? But I was struggling a bit. That either just cold called or just showed up, and I'll never forget it, man. People you would never expect to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People that I had disconnected with for. One of them was I don't want to say her name, but she's a sheriff. I had not talked to her since Bobby passed away.
Wow.
She lived down the street from Bobby, and she knocked on my door one day, and I was like, answer. I was like, what the fuck? Karen, what are you doing here? And she's like, I just wanted you to know that I'm thinking about you. You know what I mean? Ever need to? And I hadn't talked to her in over a decade. You know what I mean? So it's weird how things like that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember the first time you called me about it. I was on a treadmill at the gym, and you're like, "Bro, I gotta talk to you." I'm like, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like public yet or nothing.
Didn't make TMZ.
And he knew. And he.
We should talk about that after you make your point. How do you feel about tough love, and how do you feel about being empathetic? Because this guy has zero fucking empathy. He's all tough love, and honestly, I think it's good. I think tough love is a great thing. I do.
So I oftentimes think that 95% of the time it should be tough love.
I agree.
You can be empathetic about certain things, but you have to realize that, pick up your fucking pants and start going.
I think it's a more valuable lesson. I think being like, oh, poor you doesn't get anybody anywhere. You know what I mean? It doesn't help. I mean, it's okay to be like, oh, man, I'm sorry that's happened to you, but, bro, fucking man the fuck up. That's what this guy does all the time. And honestly, it's just what I need most days. You know what I mean?
Same thing when I'm coaching people. Like, it's not only about business, it's about their life.
Yep.
And if I could make you cry, I know I'm doing something right because I'm pulling some shit
If you
outside
can make this
of you.
guy cry, I'll give you $1 million that I don't have.
I have to get his arm behind him.
Yeah, that'll cry.
But it's just about like understanding that certain things are okay, but listen, we're big boys. We got to move on, and we got to bite the bullet. And a lot of times people want to be coddled, and they want they're looking for sympathy. Sympathy doesn't do anything.
I agree.
It just makes the situation okay.
I think being sympathetic towards a child, or you know what I mean, that's okay because they need to see that. But when you're a grown ass man, especially, I don't think sympathy serves a great purpose. I don't. I mean, it's not that we don't have feelings, but if you're gonna we get the short end of the stick a lot of the time, and if you're gonna march forward and carry on, sympathy doesn't get you there. You know what I mean? It really doesn't.
That was like when I was going through the situation with my son, and everyone's like, "Oh, he'll come back. Oh, he'll come back." For me, I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't fucking understand. You're not going through it. You don't get it. You know what I mean? But they're just trying to tell me, like, listen, he's going to come back. Just focus. Just look ahead. He's going to come back.
Positive.
And I'm just like, that's not what I wanted to hear because that's not what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you were going to say something after he...
What was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought now. Because couldn't have been anything great because I don't remember.
It was about empathy. That was before empathy.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say we should touch on that. You kind of did. You kind of picked it up. But, yeah, it was basically the point that I made is that, grown men, we don't catch a lot of breaks. You know what I mean? I mean, especially, those of us that are more on the alpha side. You know what I mean? And just in life in general, I don't think we catch a lot of slack. But it's okay. Because if you're going to be a man and you're going to raise your son to be a man, you have two sons. You have two sons. I have a son. You got to be tough. You gotta fucking suck up a lot of shit and fucking bite down on your mouthpiece and just fucking march forward. You know what I mean? Onwards and upwards. You know what I mean?
Same things with your daughters, though.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fair. Although I will always be a little more sympathetic towards my daughter because I want my son to be resilient and tough. I want him to be.
Yeah,
tough.
you want your daughter to be resilient and tough too.
Yes.
Just different
Yes.
way.
Yes.
Little different, kind of.
Yep.
But you don't
You
want
want your
to
daughter
too
to date,
different.
Yeah, you want your daughter to date a man, not a pussy. So you want to make sure, like, whatever you're teaching your boys, you're teaching your daughters. Obviously there's other things. So, yeah, boy, go get that girl. You know what I mean? You don't bring a boy home.
Yeah, exactly. It's different lesson.
That's different. But I think being hard on both genders of kids is important because then it's tough love and they know that you're in it later on down the road for their best interest.
Yep.
Absolutely. I always tell my kids, my job is not to be your friend. We'll be friends later. My job's to turn you, especially the boys, turn you into a man. And my daughter even turn you into a, respectable woman,
Yeah. I bet you don't yell at your daughter the way you do your son.
No. But she's not a dick as much, either.
My daughter could be tough, but she's a sweet little girl underneath all that. But she just got a little fire to her, you know what I mean? She'll challenge it.
But I bet you his wife yells at the son, the girls more, and that's her little boy,
I
right?
saw Renee one time. And I took a page out. I saw, I forget, I think it was Francesco, their oldest, was maybe giving her a little grief upstairs, and she just stayed so calm. I remember thinking, I would probably fucking be like, my kid, I would probably be like, yo, listen, knock it off. She was just like cutting fucking, carrots or whatever for dinner, and she just said, listen, you're not going to raise my blood pressure at all. I'm not letting you raise my blood pressure at all. And I was like, holy fuck, I should do that. You know what I mean?
I raise her blood pressure.
Yeah, you definitely did. Not really, though. I see you, because you're like your dad. You know what I mean? You're like Big Frank. You're just, you get fired up quick. You go from 0 to 100 quickly. I don't see Renee really ever reacting like that and firing back. She stays pretty mellow. You're a good mix, man. You guys are a good mix.
How's the gym going?
It's going good, man. Real good. Growing, having fun with it.
It's close to here?
Yeah, like 5 minutes.
Great spot. He shopped around for a long time to find the spot. But you gotta, because location's key, right? With a business like that, especially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So got a great spot right on Route 37. So you know where Bob Kislin's used to be?
Yeah.
Right in that plaza.
Right there.
Yeah, there was a gym there or something.
Retro's in there.
Yep.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
People probably drop their kids off and go work out.
Exactly.
Speaking of gyms, I got a story about Dan I'll tell real quick. We used to work out together, work out at the same gym. The guy used to be an animal. But anyway, me and Bobby worked out together. And you were a big dude back then. Bobby and I were trying to be big dudes. And I remember you would leave the gym. Where did you live at that time? And why were you working out at KS? Didn't you live in Howell?
Yeah, I don't know.
You were working out at KS.
Well, because there was big boys there, right? So
and
we
you would
traveled
leave there, and you would tell me, I'm going to Wendy's, and I'm going to order, I forget, like fucking 8 chicken sandwiches. And I remember thinking to myself, how the fuck can that be good for you? And you're like, bro, it's just all about the bulk. You got to bulk. And then me and Bobby would go there and order, like, whatever you said to order, we would order.
I definitely didn't say chicken sandwiches. So
No,
I used to get like a
I was gonna say
baked
Big Macs, but-
potato at Wendy's and like 4 double stacks.
Yes.
No bun.
That's it.
No bun.
So the meat and the baked potato, right?
That's what it was.
And what I used to do back in the day, the best was in Gold's Gym in Howell. They used to have a TCBY yogurt across the street. I used to bring protein powder in my gym bag, go to TCBY, have them make me a shake and throw protein powder on. That was the best.
Bro, do they even have them anymore?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
TCB with the country's best yogurt, right?
I think there's one in Woodbridge Mall.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah,
Well, they found out it wasn't healthy, right? Then they come out. Remember that? Was that Seinfeld episode? The yogurt. Oh my god! they thought they can't gain any weight.
I thought it was healthy.
Dude, all the restaurants, all the big franchise. What's the one right next to the mall? Bahama Breeze, is that it? That just closed.
That was garbage.
all the Fridays are closed down.
All the Fridays.
All of them? Wait, all of them?
Well, the one I don't know about
Brick-
all. but
Bricktown's
they're-
gone.
they're-
Wow,
they're-
Brick Tom's ever. Wow.
Red Lobster. There's only a few. We got one of the last ones open. Ours is still open, but most of them across the nation have closed.
I hate chain restaurants, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That's why when they said Boston's is going to be something, I was so excited. The old Boston's.
Yeah.
Then someone told me it was going to be a chain steakhouse. I was like, fuck.
Really?
Yeah, someone told me that. I don't know if that's true or not, but
There's not many like really, really good restaurants around. You have to travel out. You know.
I feel like they're
Not
getting
Ocean
better.
County really is much.
All the North Italians are moving down here now. Everybody
No,
from up
Monmouth
north.
County. Monmouth County's got great food.
Yeah,
Great
but it's
restaurant.
getting better here because everybody from up north is moving here. It's getting better.
Over the bridge, maybe.
Yeah.
You guys like the Butcher Block, right?
Yeah, it's great.
You've been at Charcoal in Freehold? Charcoal?
No, I haven't. I've seen.
You gotta go there, bro.
There's another one too. Is there charcoal and Point? What's those Sinners in Point?
Yeah, that's really good. Yep, that's very good. Char, that's what I'm thinking of.
Char,
Red Bank.
yeah, Char.
Red Bank.
Char.
Charcoal in Freehold is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The steak is fucking
Really?
yeah. Just a little bit of salt, and it's just so good, bro. So good. Try it out. He's opened up another restaurant in Long Branch, I forgot what it's called. Moxie or something like that.
Okay. What's your favorite restaurant, Frankie?
Favorite?
Yeah. What cuisine? Italian, steakhouse? What do you like?
I mean, everyone likes Italian. Italian and steak, though. I mean,
Seafood?
Either one. Italian and steak.
Yeah.
You know, I could eat steak every day.
Absolutely. What would be your last meal?
Steak.
Steak? I think so too.
Yeah.
Skirt steak.
If you had to eat one thing every day for the rest of your life,
Steak.
it would be steak.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I would be fucking
can eat-
dead.
yeah.
I might be. I mean, you might be right, but it might be peanut butter and jelly.
What?
I think I could eat peanut butter and jelly every fucking day for the rest of my life.
That's not good for you.
I know. But you know who ate it every day? The what's his name? The guy that kicked the fucking food out of my hand we had down here. The French fry.
Champ.
NDO champ.
Yeah.
NDO champ. He said that he ate peanut butter and jelly pretty much strictly and exclusively for fucking years because he thought it was like good for him. And that dude's jacked.
Fucking monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a fucking trend and
Well,
this
yeah,
and
I
that.
mean,
Carnivore.
So that-
all
yeah,
carnivore
yeah.
products. That's really what he's taking.
So that's why he said the other day. I mean, when we were younger at the gym, I was on growth, bro. Growth, you can eat whatever you
yeah,
want.
it just eats the
Just
fat off
fucking
you.
eat. You know, you want to get those calories
I
in.
never did growth.
Those are the best times.
I should do it now.
Paying
A little-
for 'em
a little
now.
Fluffy on me now. This guy, his whole life, he's fucking. How are you? You're pushing. What are you? 46?
43.
Are you 43?
Same
No,
age
younger
as
than I
me.
thought. But anyway, fucking zero body fat still to this day.
I don't know
Crazy.
about zero.
Never,
I'm a little guy.
never did anything. That's crazy. Especially for being a guy that lives in Jersey. Everybody does shit.
Yeah, but he's always competitive, and
Yeah.
you get tested for that stuff. No,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you can't do that
My whole
shit.
career. Yeah. Not no more.
Oh, are you a MMA fan?
I watch it.
What's up with the John Jones drama? You want to talk about that a little bit? Did you see what they said about him?
What?
John McCarthy, I guess, did a podcast.
Oh yeah, I
and
did
said-
see that. Yeah.
Said
yeah.
that he was doing some fruitcake stuff with a
Yeah,
guy.
he said he
and they're saying because he released
sexually
that
assaulted it.
and John Jones wants that to go away, John Jones is now agreeing to fight Aspinall? Is that
No.
what? That's what I heard. I heard that today.
Bro, you are.
I'm telling you, I
he
heard
is
that
like
today.
This dude.
This is
it's
9
just
hour screen time.
Like
See
you
what it
wouldn't think Roger's good buddy is Frankie Edgar with the shit he believes. Okay. Okay.
I said that's what I heard today. I heard it on the internet, so it has to be true.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So, John Jones
Just
sexually
remember-
assaulted a commissioner.
remember he's saying not a
John,
commissioner.
Inspector. Yeah, an inspector.
No,
what do you mean? As someone that works for the commission. What are you talking about? Did you listen to the fucking interview?
Yes, clearly you didn't.
No, you didn't. You didn't. John Jones was back. He's about to fight. The referee is John McCarthy.
Yes.
Right?
He was backstage.
He's asking
in the room.
Yeah, he's asking, "Hey, can I do this?" One of the commission people who worked for the commission was a jiu-jitsu guy. Said,
Okay. All right.
John Jones wants to show a move. Oh, do it on me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he started fucking doing something weird, sexually assaulting him.
Yeah. Why do you get so animated? All right.
Because you tell me I'm wrong when you
No, but
you're wrong.
Yelling
You're wrong.
is not going to make you any more.
I
right.
mean, it kind of makes me feel pretty
Okay,
good.
So
okay?
I believe that you are correct. I believe yes, it was a
You
commission.
believe, bro? Come on.
But a couple of minutes ago, he
But-
thought he saw the episode, but clearly he saw it.
no, I saw. No, I didn't know what you were talking
I did hear that the whatever clip I watched, which doesn't make it true, it doesn't mean we can't discuss it on a podcast. We have a podcast. Is that
this dude's so
is
funny,
that-
bro?
is
He's
that
so funny.
He is now talking that he may take the Aspinall fight because
Because-
he wants that story to go away. That's what I heard. That's what I
The
heard.
story's never going to go
I'll
away,
send
though.
it to you. I'll send it to you.
Hey, if that's
I
what
can't find it
takes,
right now because it would
if
take me
that's
10
what
minutes.
it takes to make this fight happen.
I agree.
I'm all in.
I'm all in. I would love to see that fight happen.
Yeah.
Are you an MMA fan?
I mean, I go and I watch it, but I've never been super into it.
Into it? Okay. It's probably the only sport I've ever really been into. I've never been into. You're a big football guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your team?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Yeah, you're definitely not a Johnny Come Lately fan then if you're a Buffalo guy. That's
You know what the Bills stand for, right?
Boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
My
Are you a Giants fan?
I mean Giants, Jets. I don't know. I spoke to the Jets twice, and they won both. So but my boxing coach Mark Henry's like the biggest Bills fan. The biggest Bills fan.
It's you know what's good about the Bills? It's the culture.
Yep.
And you can see
Bills
that,
Mafia. Yeah.
You see that in fighting. You see it in different places. It's the culture and being around it, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And anyone even who's not a Bills fan that goes to a Bills game, they just love being.
I was
around
in Florida at a tiki bar, and it was the weekend that the Bills were down in Florida, and it was full of Bills fans, and they were the nicest fucking people I've ever been around in my life.
They
I almost
travel.
became a Bills fan because of them.
They travel.
They were the nicest people.
It's so cool, and they're like New England can go to Buffalo or wherever. If we go to New England, they hate us.
Yeah.
But they come there, they want to party with you.
What's the worst stadium, Philly, to be in if you're not an Eagles fan? It's got to be Philly, right?
Philly is shit.
Yeah. Or is it Raiders? I always hear
I've never been.
Raiders in Vegas though.
Raiders
Now-
is a new one in Vegas.
So
but
now those are not real football fans in Vegas.
no,
Right?
it's just like the
People go there for
L.A. Rams, right? They just moved to
Yeah.
SoCo. That's a nice stadium. I went there this year. But
So got to be Philadelphia then.
yeah. So
Don't they have a jail in the fucking thing?
I don't know if they
say-
use it anymore.
Yeah, really. They did though, right?
But yeah, I brought my dad there years ago. He's a Green Bay fan. Green Bay and the Eagles. They're just shitheads, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, when they win the Super Bowl, they beat the shit out of their town and fucking burn their town down.
I know.
That's the way they act. But listen, it is what it is.
Right. Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen. Loved having you in, brother. Why don't you tell the people, first of all, you got to sign the board. We got to get a pick before you leave. But tell the people where they can find you. Tell them, plug your podcast, obviously. And if people want to, I'm assuming, sign up for business coaching, they can reach you how?
Best way to get me is on Instagram, Big Dan Official.
Okay.
Or my website, dansachkowsky.com. Everything's on there. And, I have a free 7-day challenge for anyone who's in business or stuck in business or wants to be in business. It's a whole video series that they can watch for free on, really how to, go after it and the simple things to do to be your absolute best. So that's all free to anybody.
I love it. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have to get on your podcast next.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
It's got a fucking beautiful setup over there, too. So, all right, man. Dan, thank you for coming in, brother. Appreciate it. It's been a
Appreciate you
long
guys.
time in coming. And, yeah, man, love to come on your podcast.
Definitely. We'll lock it
I'll
in.
come on the Big D one. Frankie can do the Intrepidus.
He said, I'll come on the big D one.
He will. Yes, he will. That's what he meant. What's up, guys? Make sure you follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. You can find the links in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and share it with a friend. Your support keeps us growing.